My name is Patrick Woodford. I'm in my middle to late 40s. I live in London. My home is in Chester Square, and my business, an antique shop, is in Bond Street. I was first married at 18 to Elizabeth. Now I'm married to Helen. But in between, there have been Nancy, Josephine, Laura, and Betsy. Or did Betsy come before Laura? Well, it doesn't matter. I have 9 children, 2 or 3 grandchildren, and a Rolls-Royce motor car. And that's about all I can tell you about myself. It's a full life.
Very good.
Thank you, Harold, thank you. Yes, I think I shall do my daughter proud at her wedding tomorrow, don't you?
Most impressive, sir, considering the age.
Mine or the morning suit?
Oh, the suit, sir, of course.
Oh, yes. Yes, well, I thought I'd better get it out, you know. After all, it's done valuable service over the years. But poor thing, it hardly ever sees the light of day these days, you know. Just the odd funeral and the royal ascot, you know, and then it's back to the wardrobe for a mothball change. Still, you know, Harold, there can't be many men who can still do up the... Oh, the damn thing must have shrunk.
Really, sir?
Oh, I remember now. Yes, the last funeral I attended, it poured with rain. And then some ass opened a bottle of champagne over me at Ascot.
Quite, sir.
Yes, quite, yeah. Well, Harold, you know, apart from my birthday, this must be the only occasion when all the branches of the old family tree will be bearing fruit for the same function.
It'll be a veritable harvest festival, sir.
It will indeed, Harold. Yes, my daughter, Victoria, by my second wife, Nancy, is the happy bride. My son, David, by my fourth wife, Laura, is the best man, and his sister, Amanda, will be the bridesmaid.
Charming.
Yes. You know, Harold, there can't be many fathers who have a representative of their paternal achievements standing at the head of both aisles.
And not a shotgun in sight.
Not a shotgun in sight. Oh, by the by, do you know that Amanda got engaged yesterday to a member of her pop group?
Yes, I sensed an air of occasion, sir, when you permitted Radio 1 to be played all through breakfast.
Yes. George, quite a nice chap, really, though I can't see that I fancy him up my family tree. However, never mind. Well, now, also in the congregation will be my mother and my first wife, Elizabeth, with our daughter, Margaret, and our son, Richard. Oh, by the by, Richard's wife, Jennifer, is in a fairly advanced stage of pregnancy. So they're coming down from Winchester tonight and going to stay overnight.
Very good, sir.
Yeah. Which means, of course, that in a couple of weeks' time or so, that branch will have another little acorn hanging from it.
Your cup runneth over, sir.
Yes, Harold, it doth. It does, yes. You know, everywhere I look in church tomorrow, I shall see a member of my wonderful family. And I can assure you that when we all stand to sing the hymns, we shall make more noise than the Ray Conniff singers. Now, is this the wedding list?
Yes, sir. It's nearly 12, sir. Didn't you ask your first, second, and fourth wives for a pre-wedding day drink at 12 o'clock, sir?
Yes, I did indeed, Harold. Oh, by the by, I do hope that you've displayed their photographs prominently.
In the living room, on the mantelpiece, in their correct order, sir.
Fine. I thought we'd give them Bucks Fizz this morning, Harold.
Oh, yes, Bucks Fizz. Champagne and fresh orange juice.
No, that's the real Bucks Fizz, Harold. In these austere times, it'll be sparkling wine and frozen orange juice.
That's a splendid idea, sir.
Yes.
The champagne bill for tomorrow is astronomical.
For a once-in-a-lifetime occasion, Harold.
The supplier's estimate is excessive, sir.
Nothing is too good for my daughter. Oh, it's all right, I'll go. You start off with the ersatz Bucks Fizz.
Very good, sir.
Victoria, I wasn't expecting you.
Peter wants us to elope.
Your fiancé?
He's got a wild attack of nerves about tomorrow.
Now, darling, husbands never get nervous. I didn't.
No, Daddy, but you'd acquired a knack.
My brides were nervous, yes.
I'm not surprised. They all knew your track record.
No, look, darling. Honestly, I won't hear of this nonsense. I've gone to a great deal of trouble and expense over tomorrow.
So if we did elope, it'd save you a fortune.
Elope, darling, what do you mean? That Peter calls round to your place with a ladder and you come down it with a suitcase and you both go off to Gretna Green? Besides, that blacksmith isn't there anymore. The bottom fell out of the horseshoe trade years ago.
It's just that Peter knows the church is going to be filled with our lot, and he's hardly any friends.
Well, darling, we'll lend him some of ours. Now, come on. Honestly, it's going to be a wonderful day, and Peter will enjoy it as much as we will. Just tell him one thing, though, that if he buys a new pair of shoes, to take the price tag off the bottom for when he kneels down in church. Oh, that'll be your mother and stepfather.
Oh, Lord, I don't want to see them.
All right, darling, will you hide in the kitchen, and I'll get Harold to give you a buck's fizz. Elopement, I've never heard of such a thing. By the by, darling, did you know that Amanda is engaged?
No.
Ah, well, there you are. You'll be able to congratulate her, won't you? Now, don't worry, darling. There's not a cloud in the sky.
The first arrivals, Mr. Woodford, your second wife and her second husband.
Oh, thank you, Harold. And would you give my daughter a nice, strong buck's fizz? Make it a little bit more buck than fizz.
Very well.
Nancy, darling. And Gerald. Don't get up, old boy.
Well, are you a day early or are we a day late?
Oh, this? Oh, no. Well, I thought I'd just try it on for tomorrow, you know, to make sure that... Actually, I never button it up in point of... Laura, darling. Oh, do sit down, darling. Edgar, I see you caught the spirit of the occasion.
Are you a day early or are we a day late?
Gerald, do sit down. Now, Harold is about to bring us about a couple of gallons of buck's fizz. I do think it's delightfully decadent, don't you, to get a few bubbles up your nose before midday. After all, it's a very special occasion, isn't it? And to start it off in style, my two wives arrive on the dot.
Ex-wives?
Ex-wives, of course, yes. You've got them well trained. I always used to refer to them, you know, as the late Mrs. Woodford.
Yes, well, now they're the ex-Mrs. Woodford.
Who isn't?
Elizabeth, darling. Wow. You know everyone, of course.
By name and by number.
By number. Isn't she amusing?
Tell me, Patrick, are you a day early or are we a day late?
No, darling, we've done that twice. Go and sit down. Now then, has everybody got everything they want?
Not quite.
And what is your pleasure, my lady?
I want Margaret to be a bridesmaid at Victoria's wedding tomorrow. Oh, really?
Anybody like a nibble?
I mean, I don't want to make a thing of it.
No, she doesn't want to make a thing of it.
No, but after all, Victoria was bridesmaid at Margaret's wedding.
Well, Victoria chose her own bridesmaid.
My daughter.
No, our... Oh, no, I didn't mean that, darling.
And our son is to be best man. Perhaps you'd like to make a thing of that, Elizabeth.
Nuts?
Perhaps you'd like your son to be a page.
Bit over the age limit with the wife 8 months pregnant.
And talking of happy events, did you know that Amanda is expecting?
What?
Is engaged.
Tell Daddy.
Oh, there she is now. I'll ask her to come in, and then we can all can't we? Amanda, darling, come on into the sitting room. We all want to congratulate you on your engagement to George.
I've just broken it off.
She doesn't want to drink on an empty stomach.
Well, Patrick, far be it from me to strike a discordant note as Elizabeth has just done.
Elizabeth didn't strike a discordant note, did you, darling?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, there you are. She couldn't possibly, you see. No. Now, what was it you wanted, darling?
I want Margaret to be bridesmaid.
Yes. Anybody want like a top-up?
Well, now, as I was saying, Patrick, now, Nancy and I have brought up Victoria from a very early age.
Yes, and a splendid job you made of it.
Yes,
too.
and I played my part in shaping her character, her outlook, and her education.
I would not deny that.
Yeah, well, I think that it is I who should be giving her away tomorrow.
Absolutely. I beg your pardon.
Gerald should walk Victoria up the aisle.
These are cheese and onions.
I think he's got a point there.
Edgar.
Yes, well, I do, really. I mean, when you
Salt
consider
and
the...
vinegar.
Patrick is Victoria's father.
Be quiet, Laura.
No, pardon me, no, Nancy. No, I tell my wife when to be quiet.
Quite right.
In point of fact, of course, there would have been no need for any discordant note had someone been able to tell my first husband where his duty lay.
Who's your first husband, darling?
His duty lay with his wife and daughter.
Now listen, Nancy, I see no point in sour grapes. If you didn't have the strength to prevent another woman from stealing your husband... Who was that French woman, by the way?
That was Josephine, darling.
Oh, may I remind you, Laura, that after you had stolen him from Josephine, that American woman stole him from you. Yeah, who was that?
That was Betsy, darling. Now, come along, darlings. Let's talk of happier things than grand larceny. After all, it all turned out for the best, didn't it? Nancy, you got Gerald. Laura, you got Edgar.
Be quiet, Patrick.
To be completely frank, Laura, I should enjoy tomorrow considerably more if you weren't going to be present.
Oh, that's it.
Yes, to be completely frank.
Oh, now, Nancy, you've gone too far.
Oh, no, not far enough. I agree with her about tomorrow.
What, you mean that you don't want Laura to be there?
No, I don't.
Well, his son won't be there either.
In that case, there'll be no best man.
Speaking as father of the two children.
Patrick! And of course, my daughter will not now want to be a bridesmaid.
No, I should think she won't.
And in that case, my Margaret and Richard will be only too pleased to oblige.
Why? No, wait. Anybody like some more Buxters? I'll go and get it. God knows why you married him.
Harold, did you say that the bill for the champagne was astronomical?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and that the caterer's estimate was outrageous?
Very.
Thank you so much. Victoria, I think elopement is an excellent idea. And if Peter has any trouble with a ladder, tell him I'm lend him one. In fact, I might even come along and help him to hold it. Oh, now, darling, don't worry. These things all come out in the wash.
Well, yours didn't, and you changed your laundry 6 times.
I want my wedding. Do you think Grandma could help?
Mother, darling, good gracious me, she's of another generation. She's totally out of touch. No, just leave it to your father.
George is mean, loutish, unfeeling, and faithless.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing you found out in time, isn't it, darling?
No, it isn't.
Why not?
Because I love him.
Oh, good grief.
Do you think if we phoned Grandma...
Darling, didn't you just hear what I said to Victoria? She's an old lady. Good heavens, if she knew about you two, she'd probably succumb to an attack of the vapors, and we'd have to revive her by burning feathers under her nose. Just leave it to me. Now, if you want a reconciliation with George, well, I'll speak to him, man to man. Now, how about that? Well, why not?
Because it didn't even work when it was man to woman.
Oh, God, look, about this ladder.
Why are you suddenly so keen on us eloping? Has something happened in the sitting room?
No.
Nonsense. We could hear the row from here. What was it about?
Mrs. Thatcher.
What? This family. I bet I end up losing a bridesmaid, a best man, and half the congregation.
Oh, now,
and what's Peter going to think of that? Oh. He's going to think he's marrying into a crazy family who spent half their time shuttling between church and the divorce courts like the Dover to Cali hovercraft.
Isn't it New Haven to Cali, darling?
I'd be surprised if he called the whole thing off.
No, darling, if he does, then he wouldn't be worth marrying in the first place, would he?
Daddy, I want to get married.
Oh, so do I.
Yes, but marriage can have its problems.
I want babies.
Oh, so do I.
Babies can be problems too. No, you weren't proud. No, you were absolutely model children, but you're far too young to start getting broody.
Your son and his wife, sir.
Oh, Jennifer, darling, how well you look.
What's the matter with them?
They want babies.
Oh, do they? Well, after 8 months of morning sickness, running up overdrafts in maternity shops and being pummeled all night by an unborn child, they're very welcome to ours.
Take her upstairs, will you? Oh, what damn fool was it who said, oh, happy, happy wedding day?
Oh, that was...
Never mind! I don't think he had 3 ex-wives in the sitting room arguing like Grimsby trawlermen, and 2 daughters and a daughter-in-law trying to outdo Niagara Falls in the kitchen. No, Harold.
But it's the front door, sir.
Yes, Harold, I know it is. But don't you think we ought to pause and reflect? And reflect what new disaster might be lying behind that 2-inch slab of English oak. Oh, if only the architect of Chester Square had thought to include a drawbridge.
I may venture the conjecture, sir, even if we had a drawbridge,
I would probably have swum the moat, yes, I
quite
know.
so.
All right, all right. We'll admit the disaster, Harold.
Very well, sir.
Mother!
I came to congratulate Amanda on her engagement.
Oh.
Another of your brood about to take the plunge, Patrick. Your children show great courage after having seen their father sink with all hands so many times.
Mother, darling, I don't want to worry you.
The engagement's off?
Well, look, not exactly
You
off.
mean she hasn't sunk yet, but she's bailing furiously?
Yeah, well...
I'll speak to that young man.
Oh.
Is he available?
He's upstairs, ma'am.
Oh, well, fetch him, please. Is that Elizabeth's voice? And Gerald?
Yes.
And Edgar?
Yes. I thought I'd gather them all together for a pre-wedding toast.
The toast appears to be slightly burnt.
No, darling, it was just that Elizabeth accidentally upset Nancy, and Nancy accidentally upset Laura.
Well, I'm going to upset them, and it won't be accidentally.
Yeah, but Mother, do you really... Darling,
Don't argue. Please, don't argue.
Silence! Now then.
Harold, Get me a large Bucks Fizz and make it a real one.
I have been mother-in-law to 3 of you, and I am totally unrelated to the remaining 2, for which, in this precise moment, I give thanks.
Your real Bucks Fizz.
Oh, thank you, I need it.
Do you think your mother might like one, sir?
No, she won't need it. She is tuned to that state of motorized perfection on a glass of milk and an apple. Bless her. At this very moment, she's making me think that I'm not losing a daughter, but gaining Muhammad Ali.
Now, I'm sure you will all agree that it's common humanity to contribute all you can to Victoria's Day of Days, her first day of days, because you, Nancy, and you, Laura, have each had 2 days of days. And Edgar and Gerald, you look as if you've had 2 or even more.
Well, actually, Mrs. Wood...
I haven't finished, Edgar.
But I'm...
Edgar!
No,
Be quiet, Gerald.
Miss Amanda's fiancé is on his way down, sir.
Is he? Poor fella. I hope he's had the sense to slip into a suit of armour.
What is the state of play, sir?
Well, as regards the other side, pretty nasty. But still, Mother's coping, you know. She's making a clean sweep. I think she must have brought her new broom with her. However, look, count up to 10, then go in there and tell her that her new target is just coming up.
Very well.
Now, we're all friends again here.
Yes, well, now, Mrs. Woodford, I was
No
trying to...
reservations, Edgar.
Oh, no, that's the point, though.
What is Gerald?
I'm Edgar.
He's Gerald. No, I'm Gerald.
Excuse me, Mrs. Woodford. Miss Amanda's fiancé.
Oh, good. Is that George?
Yes.
Well, I don't admire Amanda's taste, but then I've always been saying the same thing to her father. Oh, do sit down, all of you. I am Amanda's grandmother.
Oh.
I gather that you became engaged to my granddaughter while living under her father's roof.
Yes, ma'am.
Calling off the engagement amounts to extremely shabby treatment of 2 very generous and worthwhile people. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, how long has the engagement been broken off? How many times?
Once, ma'am.
Once? Oh, but that's just a lover's tiff. You only take it seriously when it gets into double figures. Now, listen to me. My advice, young man, is...
Now then, darlings, what have I always said? Leave it to Father. Victoria, darling, the status quo having now been safely restored in the sitting room, I think I can safely say that your husband-to-be can forget the ladder.
Oh, Daddy!
And as for you, Amanda, darling, after another minor piece of major diplomacy on my part, I have a feeling that wedding bells will soon be ringing for you, too.
Oh, you're wonderful. You're the best father in the world.
Oh.
But to think that we asked you to get Grandma to help us.
How did I do it, darling? Well, you know, as I say, a little tact, a little diplomacy. It's a question of saying the right thing at the right time.
In the right way.
Yes. Mother, darling.
Grandma! Just wait till you hear what Dad has done.
Oh, really?
Yes, would you like a cup of coffee, Mother?
No, thank you, dear. I'm intrigued to know what you've done.
Oh.
Well, there was a civil war going on in the sitting room.
Good gracious.
Yes, and I felt like eloping or calling the whole thing off. And I wanted to call my engagement off.
Amanda, Victoria, I would like to say...
I don't think you should say anything, dear.
Yes.
It would be only gilding the lily. And you two needn't say anything more either. He's always been a good father, even if he has changed several horses in mid-street. And he's been a good son, too. At least he always seems pleased to see his old mother. He's a pretty good fibber as well, but we'll keep that to ourselves, shall we?
I can't believe that 24 hours ago in this very room...
Oh, no, Gerald, that's all water under the bridge.
Of course it is, forgiven and forgotten.
Elizabeth!
Hello, Elizabeth. I'm awfully sorry about yesterday.
Oh, now, Gerald, please.
Water under the bridge, I say.
Well, exactly.
Darling, you look beautiful.
Thank you, Patrick. Well, where's your mother?
No, she's not here yet. I think she probably had to hire a crane to help her on with her hat.
Here we are.
You look absolutely beautiful.
Oh, quite lovely.
I'm petrified. Why doesn't someone invent a lacquer that you could spray on your smile?
Oh, no, darling. It's plain sailing from now on. The storm blew itself out yesterday. Mother, darling.
Oh, darling, how lovely you look. Oh, she does remind me so of Isabel.
Isabel?
Yes, my sister's second daughter. She married a Balavian prince and finished up in a lunatic asylum.
Mother, darling, what a simply lovely hat.
Well, now, don't pretend you haven't seen it before. Oh. After his fourth marriage, I didn't buy any new ones.
Yeah, darling, don't let's go into our marriage.
So you two should never have parted.
Mother, darling, you know, one doesn't stay together just to save your millinery bills. Now, come along, everybody, let's be jolly. Love and romance is in the air.
Mr. Waters!
Mrs. Woodford!
Oh, how very nice to see you here again.
It's a great pleasure to see you again, madam.
These occasions simply wouldn't be the same without you. He's practically one of the family.
Yes, indeed.
George, you can't go to the wedding dressed like that.
Oh, it's the best I've got.
Well, Andrew offered you his suit.
Oh, it's too tight in the crutch.
Crutch! Come on, last orders, everybody.
There you are. I haven't had one yet.
Because you overslept.
No, that's not my love. Will you go?
It's sticking.
OK, we won't put it down for Eton. We'll enter it for the Grand National.
Stand by, Richard.
Your granny's having another one.
Never mind the drink. Just get changed.
I agree with the girl.
Shut up, Jerry. Shut up.
Shall we go, everybody? Amanda, darling. Come on. Come along, Mother.
Don't maul me, Patrick. See you later, Mr. Waters.
Never mind, darling. It's a very good thing, you know, a spot of chaos before the nuptials.
Is it?
Yes, a very, very good thing. Now, don't worry, there's nothing whatsoever to worry about. All the same, I think I'll have a brandy. Would you like something, darling?
No, thank you,
Oh,
Daddy.
no, of course. You don't want to hiccup during the responses, do you? Incidentally, darling, should I sort of gurgle and choke a bit and start blowing my nose? I don't want you to worry. It's just that I always cry at weddings. Not of my own, of course. Of my own, I was the one suffering from hiccups. Oh, that reminds me. Do you know, last night I piped my eye a little because I decided to browse through your baby photographs.
Oh,
and, you know, I couldn't think of how today in church I was going to be able to reconcile the beautiful blushing bride with this picture of this tiny tot in at least 2 nappies and totally topless. Oh, darling, it's such a happy time for me. And for you, too. After all, yesterday and the worst part of this morning is all over. And, you know, I have to admit to you that your grandmother was really responsible for putting everything on an even keel, even though she nearly did sink the boat again this morning, didn't she? However, by now, the angry brigade will be nearing the church, and I have no doubt that the vicar will insist not only on silence, but on contemplation.
Your car is at the door, sir.
Thank you, Harold. Thank you. Come along, my darling.
Well, thank you, Daddy. Thank you for everything.
Oh. And good luck. Excuse the Dutch courage, will you, darling? But you know, this is one of the hardest things that a father has to do.
What is?
Take his daughter's arm and walk her slowly up the aisle in the full and solemn knowledge that in half an hour's time, another man will take her arm and lead her down it.
Oh, Daddy.
It started!
The wedding?
No, Jennifer's baby!
What?
I was waiting outside in front of the door, and I mean, the baby's definitely on the way. I put her in the car. Can we take it, Dad?
What car?
The wedding car.
Wedding car? To a maternity home? All right, yes, of course you must take it. No, don't worry. The bride is always late for the ceremony. But I'll doubt if there's ever been one who's had such a good excuse as this.
Your minicab is here, sir.
Come on down.